Hi, everybody, and welcome to JenTalks. And as I said on my previous recording, that we would look at creativity as a way of building mental fitness. So far, we've spoken about a different kind of energy called sattva energy. And it is a type of being energy that we only get from mindfulness and meditation, which is also breath work. So being still, giving the mind an opportunity to pause, and the F word, which is fun. And I mentioned previously that as adults, we sometimes forget that our purpose on this life is to be a joyful, blissful human being. Well, that's my belief. And that we get so caught up in all of the sensible things like parenting, relationships, travel, career, work, holding down jobs, surviving, putting out fires, all of the stuff that all us grown-ups have to think about, that we forget about the part of us that requires that joy and that fun. And it's such a huge part of us that it makes up a part of our happiness. So we look at the psychology of happiness, you'll see the flow, which represents that, being in the moment where time just passes you by, is a huge part of the makeup of our happiness. It determines our happiness, as well as meaning. Meaning is our purpose or our connection with this planet. So one of the things I said I would talk about is the idea of creativity. And often when we think about creativity, people say to me, "Oh, I'm not a very creative person. I'm no good at style, or no good at colors, or no good at art." And creativity is not whether you're good or bad at something. It's absolutely non-judgmental. It's the idea of just taking part in something, making something, doing something without a predetermined outcome. And anything that is made with that much joy is beautiful. It's art. If you can sit down and doodle, or you can staple pages together, or you can rip up napkins or fold material, and you do it just out of a place of curiosity, creativity, just because you enjoy doing it with no predetermined outcome. That in itself is art, that is creation. So when I think about, how creativity builds our mental fitness, it's the moment where we're not striving to get somewhere, we're not judging, we're not comparing, we're just present in the moment, as all mindful activities are, and we're just dropping in to the point where sometimes time might pass you by. The judge disappears, or at least softens or quietens down the judgmental mind, the ego, and we just enjoy it. We just do it for the fun. If you've ever sat down with kids and they've got finger paint or Play-Doh, they're not necessarily playing with it to make something. They're just exploring, enjoying, and allowing it to be. And when we get into that space, we are absolutely building our mental fitness. Anything that allows the mind to just switch off from all the million to do things that it has going on in the background, the should do's, the ought to's, the must do's, the why can't I, all of the judgy thoughts that the ego sends us. When we can give that a little rest, we can turn that volume down. That allows the brain to recharge and to build a stronger muscle, which is what we call mental fitness. And when we are fit in our mind, when we have a level of mental fitness, what happens in our mind is our ability to pause before we react and catch ourselves before we say yes to something that we might have wanted to say no to, or say no to something that we might have said wanted to say yes to. Our ability to think before we speak, to think before we react, kicks in. And even though that might sound like something so small, anybody that's managed to achieve that will tell you that it's so wonderful in your life to have that ability to pause before you react, or before you think, or before you speak. Because when you do speak or act or react, or respond or act. It comes from a place of honesty. It comes from a place of truth with you. It's something that you actually wanted to say or something that you actually wanted to do, rather than us just kind of being in reactive mode, reacting to whatever might be in our environment. And the example, and it's used quite commonly to describe this, is are you a thermometer or are you a thermostat? So, in other words, are you just your temperature is changing depending on the environment? In other words, are you reacting to everything as it's going on around you? Or are you a thermostat? Are you correcting the yourself based on the environment that you are exposed to? Like, which one would you rather be? Would you like to be in control, in other words, of your reactions, your thoughts, your behaviors, your actions, your responses? Or would you like other people to be in control of them? And that's what mental fitness gives us. That's one of the very many benefits of mental fitness. And one of the things I'd like to mention now at this point is, from next week onwards, I'm going to be talking about mental fitness, and I'm going to be giving you simple little snippets that I call mind apples. And the reason I call them mind apples is because the same way we might use the rhyme, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, a little small exercise for your mind is like an apple. It's that idea of the small little gesture that's healthy for the mind and helps to build its well-being. So I'm going to be giving every week now to small little exercises and talking about the benefits of mind apples. Of course, breathing is up there, mindfulness is up there. There's so many different ones, but I want to give a variety of them so that people can choose which one works for them, and encourage you to incorporate it into your daily life, something you're already doing. So it doesn't have to be another thing to add to the to-do list. It's something that you can just slide in to what you're already doing. Simple as putting on the kettle, brushing your teeth. You can just add this little exercise in. And if you can manage a mind apple every day, you're well on your way to building your mental fitness. So just one of the benefits of mental fitness is building our ability to respond in life versus react, moving from reaction mode into respond. So that's all I'm going to give you tonight. I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to go on for too long. And I hope that you are encouraged to look at the last time you did something in your life where you just dropped into absolute flow. So for some people, it's their hobbies. It could be fishing, golfing, sewing, crochet, depend with whatever brings you absolute joy and bliss, that you're just lost in the moment. For other people, it's more practical things like maybe working on their car, washing their car. I know one lady, it's ironing. It can be a number of different activities. But the key is that you're doing it with so much joy in your heart that you just get lost in time, that the mind just wanders to the activity in front, and all of the other challenges and have tos and arguments in your head just disappear. All the mind monkeys, the chatter just quietens down, because all it is that moment that you're lost in it. I mean, when we were children, we used to daydream and we had the same outcome. So think of it like that. If you can get into that space where you're just like lost in creativity, and also to not bring any judgment to it. Is this the right activity? Am I doing this for long enough? Are people better than me than this? Am I good enough? Just drop in and enjoy it. If it's listening to music, if it's cartwheeling, if it's dance, if it's hoovering, everybody, has their own activity. And if you haven't got one, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I actually don't have anything in my life that does that for me, have a think about that. Think about something that you could do, something that you enjoy, and see if you can lean into that bit more, that when you're in it, the clock is not running the show, the to-do list is not running the show, and here's the thing as well, start small. Start with, can I drop into something for 3 minutes? Can I drop into something for 1 minute? And just build on it till it becomes long enough for you, long enough for you to feel the benefits. There's no rule. It doesn't have to be 1 hour. It doesn't have to be one day. It doesn't have to be 1 minute. It's just enough to make you feel like you've had a little break from all those monkeys chattering in your mind, and you'll feel the benefit of it. Trust me. So thank you so much for your engagement and your interaction tonight. Thank you so much for all of the interactions as I'm live here. I see you all. Thank you. And just to say as well that you may be watching this on YouTube, but of course this video is posted all across my platforms. So anywhere you want to post a comment or DM or PM or whatever works for you, if you want to ask me a question or you want to put a comment in or contact me directly privately, absolutely, I'll get back to you. And I look forward to connecting again with you all next week. So thank you again for your support. And that's bye from me now. Thank you. Good night.